Hello friends and enemies, it's me Isabel here, and I'm back with my April favorites with my friends. So a whole bunch of friends and I every month rotate channels where we post our favorites for the month. So I am going to go ahead and run the clips of all of their favorites, and I'll come back at the end and give you mine.
Hi everyone, my name is Chloe and my channel name is Always Booked, and today I am here to tell you about my favorite romance that I read in April. So the book I'm going to tell you about is called Someday in Paris by Olivia Lara, and this is one I received from NetGalley in exchange for an honest review. It comes out May 14th. I don't think that's changing, fingers crossed, so you'll get a chance to read it soon if you don't have NetGalley. It's about a couple who they meet when they are teenagers and they bond over a book, and then they go their separate ways. And it's a historical, so when they first meet, it's in the 50s, and then it's just their lives independently and how their paths intertwine throughout their lives. And so they meet up at multiple times, but both have other things going on, like name changes and things that are a little bit deeper going on in their lives, and so it makes it hard for them to recognize each other. And it's just a very interesting book with a lot of interconnected webs of people, and it makes you think about soulmates and true love, and if that's really a thing, and because these people just keep meeting up despite life pulling them in opposite directions. So I really enjoyed it. The book is told from current perspective. This woman is telling her story to her granddaughter, and so then it's her story as she intertwines with this guy. And it seems to be always kind of a situation where it's just missed opportunities, and you're just rooting for them as a couple so much, and it is very good. So I gave that 4 stars, and I would highly recommend you check it out.
Hi everyone, it's Nicole from Who Picked This Book, and this is my favorite romance read of April. So the book that I'm going to be talking about is Rafe by Rebecca Weatherspoon. This is book number 1 in the Loose Ends series. In this book we follow Sloane, who is a doctor, and she just moved to Los Angeles with her 2 twin girls after a pretty nasty divorce, and she comes home from work one day finding that her 2 twin daughters were abandoned by her nanny, which I have several issues with. Like, Sloane should have seriously called the police, had her arrested, child endangerment, child abandonment, all of those things. But that's a whole nother thing. But since Sloane is a single mother, she needs to find a nanny ASAP, since their father is a no-good slumbag who lives in a different state. So here enters Rafe, who is our male protagonist, and he is a male nanny, and he is hands down the best nanny you could ever have. He is tall, handsome, bearded, muscular, ginger. Like, I could go on. Like, this man, honestly, he is on the top 5 literary husband list for sure. He is so good with children, which, you know, seems to be a given because he's a live-in nanny, but he takes the cake dealing with these girls who are so cute and so sassy. So their attraction to one another is mutual and instantaneous. And instead of letting it fester in the background, Sloane is like, let's just get this out of the way. I'm gonna put this out in the open. I find you really attractive. Let's do something about it. I'm like, I'm all for that. Heck yes. The romance is steamy. The relationship and dynamic between Rafe and the girls and Sloane, such a homey, heartfelt feel to it, and there were some laugh out loud moments. Really, this book hits every single point that I love in a romance. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. I really recommend you picking it up, and if you do, I would love to hear your thoughts. I'll see you next time, avid readers.
Hey y'all, what's up? My name is Avery from the channel Avery Loves Books, and my favorite book that I read in April was Sick Kids in Love by Hannah Moskowitz. Meow! She's meowing at me. Say hi! So this is a YA young adult book all about our 2 main characters, Isabel and Sasha. Now both of these characters have chronic illnesses. I have a chronic illness, so I connected to this so immensely. Isabel has rheumatoid arthritis, and our main character, man Sasha, I cannot pronounce his condition. I don't remember the name of it, honestly, but it's apparently very rare and only really prevalent in Jewish people. Both their chronic illnesses affect them in their daily life, and they have to go to the hospital to get treatments every now and then. He goes every 10 days and she goes once a month. And so they meet in this hospital when they're getting their treatments done, and it's their young adult love story, and just like also a love story about chronic illness and what a chronic illness is, and how people who don't have a chronic illness treat people who do, and how we feel about that. I just connected to these characters so much. Like, it was an amazing story. I love this book so much. It's probably one of my favorite books of all time now. Sasha and Isabel obviously go through a lot in this book because of their chronic illnesses, but they're also teenagers going through being a teenager and being in their first real relationship. So it was so interesting and fun to read about, and overall just like a book that I really connected to, and I hope that other people can as well.
Hi, the Book Refuge here, bringing you my favorite read from April. So this was very difficult to choose when I realized that I needed to get this clip filmed and get this sent in. I looked over all my romance reads and it was so hard. So this month has been the month of Lisa Kleypas and basically historical romance for me. At least half of my reads this month were historical romances. And the one that I ended up picking was Mine Till Midnight. This is the first book in the Hathaway series by Lisa Kleypas, and oh my gosh, I was afraid to start another series by her. I have read the Ravenel series, which when you are going through Lisa Kleypas's works, it starts with the Wallflower series, then the Hathaway series, then the Ravenels, if you want to kind of go in like a linear fashion. And I was not prepared for how much I would love this book. This book is starting out with Amelia Hathaway. She is the oldest Hathaway sibling. There are 4 girls and 1 boy, and they are on their own. They've lost both of their parents. The brother, who is supposed to come into, he's going to be the head of the family, he is spiraling out of control after losing his parents and the woman that he loved to the same illness, basically. And Amelia's having to hold it all together. Amelia is this fierce, powerful, passionate, organized, I have a plan woman who doesn't have a plan. And we see her at the beginning of this novel going to drag her brother Leo home from London. So like I said, he's spiraling out of control. He's been doing drugs and drinking and sleeping with prostitutes, and he's just very, very lost. And so we see Amelia and her family's companion, Mary Penn, go to the main club that we have met in the Wallflower series that's run by, wow, his name just went totally out of my head. It's run by the devil. I can't remember his name right now. I'll put it up here in this little clip. But it's run by him and Cam. And so Cam we met previously in the Wallflower series, and he sees Amelia and decides to help her out, help her find her brother. And then he is just so drawn into her that he kisses her, expecting never to see her again, and then they part ways. She takes her brother home. Well, it turns out that her family home is just a little ways away from, I believe it's Stonehaven is the name of it's where we spent like all of the Wallflower books. And he's there visiting, and he runs into her again. And when Cam runs into Amelia again, he knows that she's the one for him. Now, there's a little bit of tension in the way here because Cam, he is half Romani, Gypsy, half Irish. And his Romani side is the dominant side of him. That's how he was raised. And he has, well, not really forsaken that way of life because he still feels very connected to his Romani side, but they have forsaken him because he's living like the white men do, and he has a job and makes money, and they really look down on that. And now Amelia doesn't so much have a problem with him being half Romani. She has a problem with she doesn't have time to do anything for herself. And having a man in her life, having Cam in her life is something that would be for her, she feels, and not for her family. And she really has her hands full just taking care of her family. So that's enough talk. You know me, I like to ramble about the reasons that I love a book, but that's kind of the setup for it. The reason I loved it so much is I love the care that Cam takes of Amelia. He is a very like dominant personality, but he also just cares so much about her. He cares about her family. He wants to help them in any way he can. And he does meet a lot of resistance. And I feel like that's why a lot of people give Cam a hard time, is because he is kind of forceful with wanting to help. But when you meet Amelia, when you meet her family, you realize that that's what they need. They need someone to care for them. And Amelia needs someone who challenges her this way. Anybody else, she would have just walked over the top of them. And Cam is more of like an immovable force who's like, let's do this together. Let me help you. And also, he is damn fine and damn sexy. And I've never read a historical romance with the Romani culture in it before. And I want more. I love it so much. So that is my favorite book of April. And it's Mine Till Midnight by Lisa Kleypas. Thanks.
Hey everyone, my name is Tasha. I am BookDiva here on YouTube, and I am here to give you guys my April favorite for this month. So I read the first 4 books in a series this month, and whereas we can only include 1 book, I'm going to go ahead and pick the second book in the Ice Planet Barbarian series. It is called Barbarian Alien, I believe it is. Barbarian's Alien. This series has completely taken me by surprise. I'm not a sci-fi reader. I never really thought I'd be into aliens as far as books go, but this series took me by surprise. I absolutely love it. If you're not familiar with this series, it is a alien sci-fi romance where a group of women from Earth were abducted by aliens, bad aliens, and they crashed on this ice planet, and then they proceed to get rescued by these big blue aliens, and each book follows a different girl that was on this ship that had been abducted, and I absolutely love the series. So I hope you guys all had a wonderful reading month. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, this is really hard. I had a lot of 5-star reads this month, but I finally settled on All Together by Brill Harper because it's part of what broke my reading slump. This is a male-female menage book that is an erotic romance. I gave it 5 stars. I loved it. We had our nerdy heroine who was a virgin and trying to figure it all out. We had a gruff best friend's older brother and his roommate who was a bit of a goofball, let's say, and they really just found their way into this like polyamorous relationship that was beautiful. I really love this book. I think if you want something that is just so out of left field and not super heavy on BDSM, I would say there is like light restraint, but there's no like, you know, all the other stuff. This is a great pick for you. I read it for the reading rush, so I know I've talked about it before. I really honestly loved this book, and it has me on this like desire to possibly read everything Brill Harper's ever written, but then I don't have anything left by her to read until she releases something new. We'll see. But that was my favorite of the month. Be sure to let me know your favorite of the month in the comments below, and check out everybody else's channel. They'll all be linked below. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up. I'll see you soon. Bye.